Please turn off, mute your microphone so I don't get distracted. When it's time for us to attend to question, for me to attend to question, I will. All right, so we're gonna be looking at what is a peep. So after we're done with defining the concept or the term, we'll now look at how can we, calculate peep. So let me share my material so we don't waste any time on this. So you have one of this material, but this is not, the calculation will not be stated here. So, all right. So pips can be defined as the smallest movement a price can have in the currency market. So if you don't know what is the full meaning of a pip, this is a short form for percentage in points. So remember, if you could recall yesterday when I was, telling you of, gisting you about, or using a simplest way to describe what a pip is, I told you about how you used to, describe a distance normally in real life. You're always going to use kilometers. You have meters, you have kilometers. So if you want to tell someone how far, or the destination of a distance covered, you're always going to interpret it by saying this is like 60 kilometers, this is like 30 kilometers, and something like that. So how the market moves, for example, I'm going to launch a chart here, for example, and we see now how the market moves. Remember, we said the market does not stand one place. So every minute, there's always, a new value fluctuation in price. So there's always, exchange rate happening. You have exchange buying and selling, and then different prices happens. So I'm going to share my screen again just to explain something for you guys. So this is a scenario for like the market. This is just an example for the market. This is an example of what the market looks like. So I want to clear up this. So this is how the market looks like. The market moves. The market also reacts. And then the market does not stay one place. So let's say if price is at this current level, and then by tomorrow the market moves, we're trying to see that the market might continue to decline, or the market might continue to sell downward, because we said there are two things that happen in forex trading. Basically, you are either buying or you're either selling. So if price should, drop from where it is all the way from this place, price come all the way to this place, the way you would describe it, we are going to use a term for it and say price has moved 30 pips, price has moved 40 pips, price has moved 300 pips. So that's why they said it's the smallest movement in price. Now, how we will calculate it would be by looking at the left hand. If this was your MT4, we will show you that. But for now, let's pay attention to something here. If you look at this side of your screen, you are going to notice that that number is not static. The number is changing. Let me remove that line. Look at something around here where you have this 1.66, now it's 64. Now, if that market pushes up, you can see it's 65. That number is always changing. It's always fluctuating. Now it's 71. So now that is called, it's always called the market price. So how we will use to, judge the market price is an example of what we want to see now. How do we calculate the current price of GBP USD? We simply get a pen and then put it, we simply capture where that number is, the one highlighted in red. Now we write it 1.26666. So that's the current market price for GBP USD right now, as at today, as at this current time we're talking right now. So if we want to calculate the PEEP, it's the next thing we're going to learn. So I'm just trying to give you some little, insight. So when we want to calculate PEEP, we always come and copy out the current number, that is the current market price. We'll copy it out. We can put it in a piece of paper. You can copy it out, copy it to your notepad, whichever one. Now, let's face the deal for the day. That was just a little, a brief introduction. So now let's look at how we can, do I have this? All right. So PEEP, which stands for what? Percentage in points. That's the full meaning of PEEP. They are the smallest unit of currency movement in the Forex trading. So what are their functions? They are used to measure the change in the value they are used to measure the change in the value of a currency pair. So example of a currency pair I have picked from that place is GBP USD. An crucial component for Forex trading strategies. So understanding how to calculate PEEPs is essential for anyone looking to trade Forex. So as it allows traders to measure their profits and losses. So there's going to be a point where much later you'll be taught how to calculate profit and losses. And you can use that to what? You can't calculate profit and loss where you don't know how to calculate PEEP, or where to fetch out the price value for you to use to calculate PEEP. Hello, Mr. Benedict, can you turn off your microphone? So remember, there are two things we will learn here. We are going to learn the concept, which stands for stop loss. We're going to learn the concept take profit. We're going to learn these two things, and we'll learn how to set your stop loss and your take profit. In every trade, as a trader, you must always define your parameters for stop loss. You must define what you're risking versus, what you are going to be getting from the market. So that is crucial and that is important. So that is it. Anyways, let's continue. So what is a pip? We have known that, and then the full meaning. So let's understand the basics. So before you can calculate pips, you need to understand how they work. So a pip is a smallest unit measurement for a currency pair, and it represents the fourth decimal place. So for example, let's look at this. We take a common pair that we all know about, like we'll be working with a major pair like Euro USD. Please pay attention. Now, we also categorize some certain pairs that does not fall in these categories much later. We'll now learn how to calculate them. Like this set of pairs, we call them the yen pairs. Now, these pairs have their own method. You can calculate their pip. Please help me turn on the outside light. Turn it off. So like this yen pair, example of yen pair, any pair that has USD JPY to it, we call them the yen pairs. Example of yen pairs, you have GBP JPY. The JPY are the yen pairs. So these pairs with this kind of, base currency and quotation currency codes, we have a different way of calculating their pips. When we get there, we'll know. Then any pair without JPY that falls under the normal, group or groupings like Euro USD, GBP USD, all of these type of pairs, we are always going to be counting from the fourth decimal. We start counting from the fourth decimal. That is where we start counting our pips. So if the market moves 1 pips from the fourth decimal place, we say the market has moved 1 pips. If the market moves 2 pips. So let's look at that in a minute. So example, without wasting time, we have Euro USD with a price. We're always going to use a reference, number to quote it. I've shown you where we got that particular price value, because the number changes since the market fluctuates. All right, let's say for a currency pair like Euro USD, let's say the current market price for Euro USD is 1.1200. So after the point, we start counting the pips. The pips is always the fourth decimal. So this is your fourth decimal. This is where you will start counting your pips from. So it's at this place. 1, 2, 3, 4. So the fourth decimal. Let's say the price of Euro USD moves from 1.1201. How many pips has Euro USD changed or moved? That means Euro USD has moved 1 pips. Pay attention. It's nothing much. I take it again with another example. I said how we are going to calculate pip, or how we calculate pip in this kind of categories of pairs outside the yen pairs. We are always going to be counting or paying attention to those sets of numbers. We'll pay attention and count from the fourth decimal place. It's always being represented from the fourth decimal place. So I gave you an example of a current price value. So let's say we have Euro USD with this current price value. Let's say we have 1.200. This is the current price. And then let me let you know something. After the decimal, we only consider only 4 digits after the decimal. You're always going to get something like extra, like 1, 2, 0, 0, for example, 5. We always take out this last number. This last number is always called the pipette. But we are not always going to include it. Anytime we are copying out the number from your trading view or your MT4, once you count 1, 2, 3, 4, the fifth number always delete it. It's not always significant. So just note that. So let's say we have Euro USD at this current price, and then the market changes in value. Let's say the market either moves up. It's not always the market must move up. It's either it can go up or go downward. So let's say the price of Euro USD changes from 1.120 what 7. So what, remember, we are counting from the fourth decimal place. So now, when we started this lecture, we started with an example that if the current price for Euro USD is at 1.1200, then now the market price has changed. That means it has gone up, and the market price has moved to 1.1207. So what is the number of pips right now? The number of pips, we have moved up 7 pips. So that is the answer. I hope you guys understand.
Yes, sir. We are with you, sir.
So now we are going to start expanding that thing we know. Let's try to expand it so that we're going to get things. Let's go deeper now. So I'm always going to pick a common pair we know, Euro USD for now. Let's keep it. Let's focus on this. Now let's pick another example. If Euro USD is buying or is at a certain price level for now, which is 1.0787. Remember, on your MT4 or MT5, you are going to get more than 4 digits after the decimal. Like you are going to get either 1 or 2. This is called a pipette. This last number. Don't always add the number. It's insignificant. We only deal with 4 numbers here after the decimal place. And then we start counting our pip for pairs that are not under the categories of the yen pairs. I have given you an example of those type of pairs. So we start counting our pip from the fourth value, the fourth decimal place. So now, if Euro USD is currently buying or selling at 1.0787, and then let's say the market moves, now let's use downward, and then we now have 1.784 from this number. How many pips down have we moved? Let's say this is our initial value or current price the market is. Euro USD, this is what we know that we are working with, 1.0787. Then now the market now moves downward in the market did decrease or move downward. So how can we, measure the pips that the market has moved downward with how many pips? So the current here we had 7, and now we have what? We have 4. So we can simply say if you minus 7 from 4, we'll now say the market, remember, sorry, there's a mistake here. Let me get the eraser. There's a mistake here. I'll take it again. Where's my pen? I'm coming. I've gotten something mixed up. Let me exit that please and come back there again. Good. All right, so please bear with me. Euro USD, if Euro USD is currently sitting at this price level, 1.0787, and then we said the price of this market, remember, we start counting from the 4th decimal. That is where we count the peak. And then this market moves from this particular price level to this particular price level, 1.0784. So how many pips down has Euro USD moved from this particular place? That means we have moved 3 pips downwards. If we minus 7, since this is the number we are working with, and this particular number, the 4th number here has changed. If we minus 7 from 4, we should have 3. So that means the market has gone down with 3 pips. So that is that. All right, now we want to look at this in another level, okay? Because this number may not only change at this place. The number could also change here, and the number could also change at this place. So let's see if suppose the number changes at that place, how can we get it right? So now let's go a little bit advanced. We'll keep this as our current price. We'll keep doing so many examples so you understand how to calculate pips. So now this is our current market price. So let's do this now. We're going to do a little bit, and this is our 4th decimal place. Don't forget, that is where we start counting the pip. Now, the next thing we want to do now is we want to do this. We'll now write this 1.0787. So since this is our 4th decimal where we start counting our pip, we'll number it. That will be number 3. The next number after that will be this will be number 4. The next number will be number 3. And then this particular number here will be our number 2. And then here will be our number 1 after the decimal. But most times, unless the market generates a very huge value, we don't always have this price changing just like that. So the numbers we'll be facing or focusing will be these 3 digits. So we'll learn how to calculate it. If suppose it changes from here, how do you interpret it? Or if it changes here. So what we'll do now, at 7, we'll start counting. This will be number 1. So this will be like someone having units, tens, hundreds. So after the 7, this will be our 10 in units. Then the 7th will be 100. Remember, when you did 100 tens units, if you have one particular integer, that becomes a unit. When there are 2, you call it what? Tens. That you'll be counting it as tens. Then when the numbers are 3, you'll be dealing with them as what? You know how you combine them. That's why you have 100 tens and units. 100 tens and units. So after the third value, where we put our number 2, this 100 will come down. I take it again. We are going to do a new formula to calculate the pips after we have known that the pip calculation starts from the 4th decimal. So what we do now, this is our example of a current market price. Take that. So we have 1.0787. So we start counting 4, 3, 2, and 1. So where we have number 4, we will always count it as number 1. That will be our unit. So after the 4 and the number before the 7, this will be our tens. The number before the 8, which is 7, and at position 2, this will be our 100. So follow me gradually. All right. Do you guys understand what I have just done now? I'm going to do an example and you will see how we'll use this table to match them up. Do you understand where I am currently now?
Perfectly, sir. We are with you, sir.
All right, it's like working with a 4-figure table. Now, if we said the price of Euro USD has changed from that current price from 1.0787 to 1.0786. 1.0786. Now, where did the number change? The 0 is still here. The 7 is still here. The 8 is still here. Where did the value change? The value changed at this side of the figure, right? It changed at the number 1, position of where we had the 4th decimal. Am I correct? See it now, match it. That is where the value changed. Is that not so? Hello, is that not so?
Yes, sir. That's absolutely true.
And then number 6, is it tens or units at that place from where we label it? Is it tens or units? Say it's units.
It's a unit, sir.
Yeah. So that means if Euro USD was buying or selling at 1.0787, then now instead of the number standing as 7 or increasing to 8, we have decreased to 6. So how many pips down the Euro USD move? From 7, we are now at, pay attention to where the number changed. If you match this number like this, it didn't change. Don't leave that one. If you match 7 to the next 7 and it's still standing the way it stands. Leave it. The one that change, that is where you will calculate you will read you consider it to use and work out your calculation for the pip. So let's say now, since the number that change is at the position what? 4, and at where we label as our first unit. So that means Euro USD went down with what? 1 pips. It went down with -1 pip. Is that simple enough?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So let's do another calculation. I'm going to delete this and we keep the same thing. So let's pick another pair. Let's say AUD, not NZD. Just, I hope you have used your pen and paper to do what I've shown you, to label it. Let's say AUD is currently at this certain price level, 1.0248. And then we said the pip is always from the 4th decimal place. That is where we start counting our pips. So let's do our table again. We draw the first line. Where we have 8, we number it as units. Where we have 4, we number it as 10. Where we have the 2, we number it as 100. So since we are counting from the 4th decimal, this is 4, and this is 3, and this is 2, and this will be your number 1 after the decimal. So now AUDNZD is either buying or selling at this current market price, trading at this current market price, 1.0248. Now let's say the price changed from excuse me.